it's fairly clear that somebody was weaponizing the Attorney General office, right, to attack me.
Who is that somebody?
Can you please clarify to the camera that I am in fact not your daughter or not related also, right?
In fact,
Welcome back to What Is Up Indonesia podcast with me, your host, Ando Vida Lopez.
And me, Abigail Limuria.
And today, oh my God, how do I introduce? Finally!
Oh my God!
One of the most requested guests in the history of this podcast.
Actually, after
legit.
Gibran.
You're right. After
No,
Gibran.
it's true. It's true.
We have the man with the briefcase, the man with the sugar case, the man with the case of impeccable lesung pipit. I don't know how
That's
you say
true.
it. How do you say what's in English lesung pipit?
Dimples?
Dimples. The man who's allegedly the father of my co-host. Please welcome and give a big round of applause for Mr. Tom Lembong.
thank you, Mas Andovi, Mbak Abigail.
Do you like the introduction?
I love it.
Wow. Okay, so let's
Very
now
original.
address the big elephant in the room.
We always
Okay.
address the elephant in the room first.
So,
Alright.
Abigail, can you show your shirt? Bukan anak Tom Lembong.
I need this hoax to end.
So we need to set the record straight,
We need
right?
to set the record straight.
All right.
Can somebody explain to me how this started?
Okay, first,
Okay.
I need to... can you please clarify to the camera that I am in fact not your daughter or not related also, right?
In fact, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, I was like, wait, what?
No. So I wish we were related, but we're not. So
That means a
is that
lot.
enough? Okay.
Yes.
But
So...
I'm not sure it's going to be effective in ending the long-running
people
joke.
don't care.
But
People
you
don't
know,
care. But
happy
Anis have
to-
done
happy
this
to
actually. Nobody
clarify.
listens to him.
Definitively.
Yeah. But Anis have clarified and people literally said, oh ini dibayar sama Abigail jadi buzzer.
So it's clear, yeah. It's clear, yeah. It's the rumor. But how did it start, by the way?
So, 2024 election,
Okay.
I don't know why, but me and Afu, right, a couple of my friends, made bijak memilih. And you were in our event, right?
Okay.
And
Yep.
it was like, I saw a tweet saying like, masa bijak memilih is not neutral. One of the co-founder is Tom Lembong's daughter.
Really? This is how it started.
No, I saw that. I'm like, what?
So it started with a real hoax.
Yeah, and then
That's
people
hilarious.
started saying like you were pre-viral
Right,
at that time,
right,
right?
right.
The video of you and Pak Anies
Right.
doing the roar challenge thing, right?
The roar
No, I
challenge.
swear. And people were tagging me. They were like, kok mirip Abigail ya? Ini anaknya ya? Kok ini mirip Abigail ya anaknya? And then I don't know what it just keeps spiraling.
It became an internet thing. It became an
And then
internet
it became like
became
an
a thing.
internet. It became a thing.
Ah.
It became a thing. Up until when, which we're gonna discuss, like your case.
Right.
When the news broke out, people were DMing me. Kak, your dad. I'm so sorry. Yang kuat ya kak. I'm just like, what is happening?
I love it. That's the internet. I love it.
No.
Well, I think even with like movies and soap operas, right? Like audiences sometimes like get confused or blur the lines between the actor or actress and
That's
the
true.
character, right? Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the actor or actress is actually the character. Right? They're so invested like in the
I didn't
soap
think-
opera or the
That's
series.
true.
Yeah. So anyway.
No, but like people were actually like genuinely think, do you think we look alike? Like that's a genuine question.
To be honest,
Some people even say hey, our teeth look alike.
listen, to be honest, if I didn't know anything, there was no context,
Right.
I wouldn't say you were not related. You're right. I would be like, maybe, I know, but yeah.
Well, thank you for the compliment.
Thank you for the compliment. Yes, no,
Yes.
that is
I wish
definitely.
it were the case, but
Yeah,
anyway.
it's clear, yeah. We boost. It's clear, yeah. Let's end
don't
this
care.
madness. Let's end this madness.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Now that's done. We need to address, obviously, the reason why your name skyrocketed in Indonesia.
All right.
And that is, firstly, I think you came into the spotlight during the 2024 presidential election.
Right.
Because I have no idea how that started, by the way. Right? He just like, people are like, you were gaining fans left and right during that election. And
I'm as confused as you are, by the way. about that.
Everyone's like, what's happening here?
Okay. And then afterwards, of course, the sugar corruption case.
Right.
That really made, I feel like everyone in Indonesia now knows you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So can you walk us through, I mean, I know you've talked about this a lot, but can you walk us through the case? You know, like I heard that the indictment was changed 3 times even, because I was writing and I was confused. Like what was this case about?
So it was a very strange case, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was interrogated 4 times in the month of September and October. And on the 4th interrogation, it was a Tuesday, 29 October. Suddenly, I was left alone in a room for about 3, 4, 5 hours. And when the Attorney General Office people came back, they announced to me, they declared to me that basically they had a consultation with their leadership, and the leadership decided to declare me a suspect, and I would be immediately arrested and detained, right? And as it was happening, apparently there was a press conference being held, concurrently, where the spokesman and the director of investigations of the Attorney General Office kind of announced what the accusations were, right? And at that time, on the day of my arrest, what they announced was that the alleged corruption, right, the alleged state losses of 400 billion rupiah were profits that were made by private sector industry, like private sector sugar industry, that should have been made by the state-owned sugar companies, right? And that's when we got themes or memes, rather, of like, oh, so if I fill up my car or my motorcycle at the Shell or BP gas station, right?
I mean, like following the
petrol
logic,
station, rather than at the Pertamina state-owned petrol station or gas station, am I causing state losses, right? Because of the profits that should have been made by Pertamina. Or if I choose Axiata or Indosat for my mobile phone plan rather than Telkomsel, am I causing state losses, right? Because of the profit that should have been made by state-owned Telkomsel. So it's very bizarre. And then I was detained for about 4 months, right, before they compiled my dossier and transferred it from the investigating attorney to the prosecuting attorney, right? And again, when we received my indictment, right, it sort of blew our minds, right, because the basis for the losses was completely changed, right? Where previously they talked about profits that should have been made by state enterprises. Now they talked about like, the state enterprise that I appointed, together with the other ministers, right, that we jointly appointed, paid too high of a price for the sugar that they procured from the private sector sugar factories, right? That's number one. And number two, because I imported raw material, right, raw sugar, rather than the finished good, our finance ministry kind of lost out on higher import duties.
Yeah,
right?
I read about that.
Because it's common practice that raw materials receive like a lower import duty, right, as like an incentive to industry, right? And finished goods generally are applied a higher import duty, right? So the fairly absurd logic was like, well, if only Pak Tom had imported finished goods rather than raw materials, right, then our customs office would have received more import duties, right? Well, if that's the case, let's not have any industry, right? Let's not have any factories. Like, let's not import any raw material. Let's just all import finished goods. We don't need to have factories. We don't need to have, for that matter, downstreaming, right? Because we should all just import finished goods, right? So it's just a very bizarre indictment. And, thankfully, another 4 months or so of a total of like 23 court sessions, I think proved fairly definitively that there's just no case, right?
There's no case.
Yeah, there's simply no case. I mean, the logic is perverse, right?
Yeah.
The basis for calculating the alleged state losses kept changing, and it's also absurd. And even in the charges, the prosecuting attorney said, I received no money, no objects, and no promises. And the judges said that the trials proved that I had no ill intent, the now famous mens rea,
Mens rea. Yeah.
right? And the state losses were all over the place, right? From 400 billion rupiah at the beginning to 578 billion rupiah during the indictment, down to 194 billion rupiah at the verdict, right? And so, but regardless of all that, let's give Tom like a 4.5-year jail sentence, right? So that's when I think, to my surprise, frankly, the public just exploded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And
we all
again, I'm
exploded.
so grateful to you
Literally.
guys and all the other, influencers and podcasters who highlighted, all these incongruities and disparities in my case, right? Which I think led to the kind of public pressure that eventually made the president and our parliamentary leaders conclude that, they had to do something, they had to intervene to set things right. Yeah.
The thing is, Tom, thank you for explaining the case. The thing is, I personally know a lot about the case. I really, really follow your case. And I'm sure if you talk about the case itself can be a 3-hour podcast.
Yep.
Because there are many, as you said, perverse logic,
Right.
political
Right.
play, and all that stuff. However, one of the points that I would like to really ask you and inquire you about
Sure.
is, I've heard from many info A1, A1 information, that you were one of the most unique people when you were, in jail.
Right.
You had such a attitude and a perspective
Okay.
inside when you were inside that really surprised many people,
Yeah.
right? Can you please maybe walk us through that and how you yourself, on a very mental level,
Right.
dealt with all this?
Right. So I guess let's start with the fundamentals of the case, right?
Right.
I mean, as a professional, I have to be open to the possibility that maybe there was something wrong. Maybe I did something wrong. Right? Maybe there was like some kind of a violation of procedure or administrative error, right? And so I think for the first couple of months, I tried my best to be open-minded, right? Let's see what the evidence shows.
Right.
Let's see, what comes to light, right? But it became clear fairly quickly that there was really nothing. There's really nothing, right? And look, when President Jokowi first appointed me to the cabinet, right? From the very beginning, myself, my family, my friends, were deeply aware that I don't come from a political party,
Okay.
right? I don't come from like a billionaire tycoon family,
Right.
right? At that time, I didn't even have any mass backing or popularity or anything, right? And in that kind of circumstance, your only protection really is to be completely clean, right? To do everything by the book,
Right.
right? So I never thought that I had any room whatsoever to sort of play around, right? And as my wife has pointed out previously, right? I'm a total nerd. That's like very, I take notes on everything, right? I keep files on everything. I'm very careful and methodical and detail-oriented, right? And so as soon as it became clear to me that the prosecuting attorney had no case, right? The prosecutor had no case and there was nothing. I mean, I felt like I was able to battle my way through with no burden, right? I just had no burden, right? I had no
Right. Because if you know
feeling of guilt.
if you know you're innocent, why would you have a burden?
That's probably the main thing. That's probably the main thing, right? Now, moving on to the more delicate part, right? I think at this point especially, we all know that law enforcement agencies can be weaponized,
Yep.
right? To eliminate or cut down political enemies, to attack counterparts in commercial disputes, right? Business disputes. I mean, you even have ex-spouses suing each other, right? Or weaponizing law enforcement agencies. For example, in a divorce dispute over money, right? So it's fairly clear that somebody was weaponizing the Attorney General office, right, to attack me.
Who is that somebody? Comment below.
And so that's kind of depressing, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like disconcerting, disturbing. But there, I think my attitude was kind of like, I knew this was a risk in going against the regime, so to say, right? Against the incumbent, the powers that be, if you will.
Powers that be.
By backing the opposition, essentially, right? The opposition candidates, Pak Anies Baswedan and Pak Muhaimin Iskandar. And from early on, I received multiple threats, right? That my political choice would carry consequences, including potentially legal consequences, right? And as I've mentioned elsewhere, I discussed these risks with my wife and kids from early on, right? And so, again, it's just a matter of principle, right? Like, I took the plunge notwithstanding the threats, right? I felt strongly and morally that this was a fight worth risking for, right? And when you do that, yeah, you have to see it through. Like, you have to be willing to pay the price.
Why
Right.
was it a fight worth all this risk, though?
This is going to be a somewhat long-running discussion over the coming weeks and months and years even, right? I mean, if you look at the last 10 years,
Okay.
I mean, even our state statistics agency disclosed that our middle class shrank from 22% of
Yes.
our population
Yeah.
to 17%, right? I think most groups or most strata of society, right, can feel that the economy is not in good shape, right? Many groups, probably even now down to people in the regions and people of lower income status, I think more and more people realize that things are really off course, right? And these are things which we saw starting to happen, right? Even before the election. I mean, again, part of my job as an investment banker is to make forecasts, right? Is to take the trends and extrapolate them forward. And many of the things which are firing up the frustrations of the public, yourselves included, right, are things which we more or less predicted 2 or 3 years ago, right? And so it was clear that the country needed a political change, and that political change is worth fighting for. And the lack of political change led to all the undesirable, right, all the regrettable things which are feeding the public anger now, right? And so that's really what made that fight worth fighting, I think.
But Tom, look, I can't act like I'm not a very big fan and inspired by you, because it's different when you're like me, for example. I speak out online, I'm very vocal, but to go through that process and be like, before you knew you were going to get abolition from the president, I mean, to hear 4.5 years in jail must have been such a heavy burden.
Yeah.
It must have been such a like, wow, 4.5 years until 2029. It's, I'm trying to see like, I mean, you explain why. You said the risk is worth fighting for. You explain why. But I'm trying to maybe extrapolate something deeper. Like, is it something that you grew up upon? Is it some integral values that you you grew up upon, or was it something that
Right.
you found along the way? Because how do you have that strength? And
Right.
more importantly,
Right.
how does that strength permeate to everybody else, like
Right.
the younger
Right.
generation?
Probably the answer is all of the above, Mas Andovi, right? I mean, surely I was born with certain characteristics, right? I mean, our DNA does have a sizable influence. Personally, I would estimate maybe 30 to 40% of our destiny is written in our genes, right? DNA.
I love this.
But not 70 or 80%.
Right.
I would say 30 to 40%.
Okay.
Right.
And then maybe 30 to 40% is, our upbringing and our environment. And then 20 to 30% are kind of, choices we make. Let's not forget sizable randomness in life.
I love that.
Chance,
The randomness in
sheer,
life.
sheer chance.
Sheer chance, yeah. Yeah.
But I gotta say, during my 9 months in prison, I did become quite a bit more spiritual and more religious. And if I look back at my life, right, it feels like almost like every phase of my life prepared me for this moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's almost like I was trained to do this, or born to do this. Like, for example, I'm very much an introvert. I'm a loner. And
Okay.
so, frankly, being stuck in a cell by myself is probably a lot less traumatic for me than for others who are more extrovert, right?
I even heard,
I guess that's one way to put it.
sorry to cut you off, but I even heard that you were like, it's fine, just give me my laptop so I can work. Is that true?
Yeah, pretty much.
I literally heard
right?
from Info A1 that you're like, oh, the briefcase. Like, just give me the briefcase.
give me that.
And I'll just do work. And I'm like, when I heard this story, I was like, how can that be
it's
your...
so... Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
And
Yeah,
then
please.
I'm a bookworm, right? I'm a
Right.
fast reader, so I love reading, and many people know that I'm a writer. I wrote a lot of speeches.
A lot of
the
speeches.
president.
For who, Tom? For who did you write these speeches?
Right in the
Of course,
comment.
President Jokowi, of course, most famously.
Yes.
I can while away my time in prison with a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and just meditation, but also sport, exercising. So they did allow me to bring in some adjustable dumbbells and my TRX straps.
Wait. So in prison, you had adjustable dumbbells and the TRX strap to work out.
So that's actually very fundamental for me. Like I exercise, particularly weightlifting, right? But also cardio is really important to me.
I see.
Because without that,
Okay.
I can't sleep.
So you do that every day?
Right.
Not every day. I mean,
Okay.
now probably 3 or 4 times a week, right? 5
That's
times a week.
still amazing.
But without exercise, I can't sleep. I have no appetite, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's a real struggle for me to think clearly and think sharply. So exercise is really, really important for me. And so, you just keep doing what you're doing, right?
No, so okay, because I'm sorry, but what you're saying makes sense.
It makes sense. Don't get us wrong.
But I still can't accept it because
Right.
so another thing that I heard was how positive you were during this whole thing. So actually another
Info A1.
A1, yeah,
A1 info.
from a person very close to you said that during when you were the announcement of your arrestment was first announced, and it was during the first night where your lawyer came to you. It was actually you who supported your lawyer, or who were like encouraging your lawyer to be like, oh, it's okay, instead of like the other way around.
It's supposed to be the other way around, right? It's
Exactly,
supposed to be-
but apparently, like during the first night, the lawyer was like, "Oh man," but it was Pat Tom who
was
were
like-
like encouraging. That's insane.
That's insane. To be honest, I think that's a bit
And-
weird. To be honest, that's a bit weird. I gotta put it out there. That's,
And like I was just wondering, like, is there at any point you feel mad? Because obviously you point out that this is a very political thing, right? At what did you ever feel mad, or do you feel betrayed, or do you feel hopeless because like
Right.
what you're up
Right.
against is
Right.
a very powerful entity,
powers that be.
Right.
The powers
right?
that
With
be.
with all the resources that they have,
Right. So we talked about the impact of our genes, right, on our character
Right.
personality. Let's talk a bit about our upbringing,
Okay.
or the way our career shapes our personality and our character, right? So I established my own investment firm, right? Private equity firm at the age of 35 with a few co-founders. And at one point, we also had a crisis internally, right? And we hired quite expensive executive coach, is a term, who worked with us. It's almost like a therapist for executives, right?
Okay.
And it was mind-blowing, actually, because we learned from him that, culture is everything for an organization, right? And culture is rooted in values. And a lot of organizations or even co-founders, right, they don't spend the time to contemplate and debate what are our corporate values, right? I mean, a lot of times, either you're successful and things just evolve very quickly, right? I mean, your revenue is exploding. You need to, grow or seek additional financing and so on. And you never stop to think, what are actually our values, right?
Okay.
So after a pretty involved process, we settled on 3 company values, right? And the first one is hard work. The second one is pragmatism.
Okay.
And the third one is long-term orientation or patience and long-term orientation. And I think those values are just a reflection of the founders of the firm.
Okay.
That's just how we are, right?
Right.
And so another favorite saying of mine is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So who you surround yourself with really shapes your character and your personality, right? And so, I mean, obviously people who are on the same frequency tend to gravitate to each other, right? Like birds of a feather flock together, right? And so, yeah, my partners and I are just very pragmatic, very practical. So that's why it's one of our group values or company values, right? We're very hardworking and, always thinking about the long term. And we can talk about that a bit later if you want.
Yes.
But a key feature of advanced civilizations and successful economies is that they don't just think short term, and short term.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they have philosophies, ideologies, and systems in place that encourage people to make short-term sacrifices, right, in favor of long-term benefits or sort of greater,
really
greater value creation over the long term, right? So yeah, I mean, those values came in really handy during my personal crisis, being in prison and then hearing that I potentially could be in jail for like 4.5 years and facing those realities.
Because you were seeing the long term.
I was in it for the long term.
For the long run.
I was, playing the long game, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
So
what
I had
is
my
the long
eyes-
game for you?
That's a great question. That's a great question. What is the long game?
Right. At the most fundamental level, right? To serve out my destiny, like to carry out, God's will if you're religious, right? Like quite possibly the story of our lives is already written, but a lot of people struggle to accept their destiny, right? We
this is interesting.
run away from our destiny, right? For various reasons.
This is interesting.
But destiny always catches up to you, right? You have a destiny, like you have a mission in life.
Okay.
Like God gave you a mission in life.
Right.
And normally the God-given mission in life involves a fair bit of sacrifice, a fair bit of suffering, a fair bit of trauma even, right? But from what I understand, Buddhist teaching, for example, one of the main Buddhist teachings is that life is suffering. Right?
Yeah.
Life is pain, but embrace it because through pain and suffering, you gain wisdom and depth, right? And so, I mean, a lot of people pursue superficial or materialistic goals, right?
Right.
And thereby kind of get away from their own humanity. But, if you go back to classic, timeless teachings of the major religions,
Right.
of the major philosophers.
Right.
When human life is not meant to be all about like individualism
Right.
and maximizing wealth and materialistic pleasures. Yeah, like it's about something deeper than that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think this might sound cheesy or even bizarre, right? But I think our goal in life first is to discover who we are. Like, what are my values, right? What are my norms, right? And then secondly, to live in accordance with those values as much as you can,
Right.
which is easier said than
Right,
done.
right.
Because a lot of times it's very
Absolutely.
tempting to cut corners,
Right.
or to live in a way that is not right, right? Or to act in a way, or to work in a way that it's just something is off, And so, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with my values and
Right.
my culture, my principles. So just have to try as best as I can to live in accordance with those principles and those values.
Can I ask? So you mentioned pragmatism as one of your core values, right? What does that mean to you?
Right.
Because I
right.
feel like a lot of people have a negative connotation
Oh,
for
yeah,
the word
all
pragmatism,
pragmatism,
right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. In practical terms, things like why stress out about things that you can't control,
Okay.
Right?
Right.
and then if something works, just go with it. Like don't overthink it, don't ever overanalyze it. I mean, a lot of times, especially for highly educated people, it's very difficult to simply go with something that works because you don't understand why it works, right?
So you have to overanalyze everything.
Exactly. So I'm a classic, highly analytical person.
Right.
Like I'm a classic overthinker, and so I want the solution that works to be my brainchild, right? I mean, I want it to be my idea,
It's an
right?
ego thing sometimes too,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Right.
And so, but a lot of times, the solution is totally different from what you expected or even designed, right? And okay, whatever works, don't become exactly like you said. Don't become egotistically attached to your own solution, or what's called the "not invented here" syndrome, right? Just because it's not my solution, then it can't be any good, right? And so, I mean, if you dig a bit deeper,
I know.
like below pragmatism is actually like humility, like letting go your ego, right? Like
Yeah.
being wedded to your plans or wedded to your analysis or your solutions, right? Like if something else works better, even though it's not invented here, right? Embrace it. So those are just some examples of what I would consider to be true pragmatism. Yeah.
Wow. Weeboos, welcome to Philosophy 101. Welcome to Teaching of Life Lessons 101 with Tom Lembong.
No, that is really
But
good.
if you want some water?
Oh, thank
want
you,
some
thank
water,
you.
please? Yeah. But okay, can I just, okay. I love it because once we're talking to going to philosophy, there's a lot of questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I love this debate between free will and destiny. Right? There's a debate as a tale as old as time from the ancient Greeks up until now, free will and destiny. And you said that as humans are supposed
We
to live
have a
out your
destiny. Yeah. It's already been written.
It's already been written.
Right.
Okay.
I think I know what you're getting at.
So what is okay, before I ask what is the written destiny for you, you read a lot of biographies, you know history.
Right.
Usually in history, when people are wrongfully imprisoned,
Right.
they come out being Mandela, Gandhi,
Well.
Batman. Right. In history has shown people who have been wrongfully imprisoned, they come out and become the Messiah, sort of.
Wow.
And because you are a learned man and you know the history, has that ever crossed your mind when you're like, should I become Batman? Should I become Mandela, Gandhi, Sukarno? All these people were wrongfully imprisoned.
So that would be another example of pragmatism, Masandofi.
You're right.
How
Be realistic.
how many Gandhis, Mandelas are there in the world?
You're right. Not a lot. Not a
and
lot.
how many
It's a
people come out of,
survivorship bias.
Yeah, it's a survivorship
I mean,
bias,
how many
yeah.
people come out of prison and end up being just normal people, right? Or even recidivism, right? Like a year later they're back in jail, right? So we don't want to base our assumptions or work plans on the singular cases, right? But to the question of how much agency do we actually have?
Yeah.
right? How much agency do humans actually have?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, are we? Do we have free will? Right? Are we merely the product of our genetics, our genes,
exactly.
or our upbringing? So my latest iteration on that, my latest conclusion on that, by Abigail Masandofi, is that I believe we have very little agency in the short term. Yeah, we actually have very little free will
In the short term.
In the short term, in the immediate moment. Yeah,
Okay.
my belief is that our agency is over the long term.
Oh.
Yeah, and here's what I mean. I believe that the decisions we make today, our actions today, were determined years and years and even tens of years ago. Yeah. So the choices we made, like years ago or decades ago, shape our character and shape our personality gradually, almost imperceptibly over time, until we have a kind of character and personality
Okay.
where if we encounter certain circumstances right now, our reaction is almost automatic,
Right.
right?
Okay.
And so actually the agency that we do have is making those mostly small decisions day after day after day,
Okay.
week after week after week, right? Like that shape our character and personality.
Right.
And that's what's going to rescue you in a crisis.
In the
or
future
in the
later.
future, or be your undoing, right? So it's your character, your personality that saves you or kills you
Right.
when you get hit with crisis, right? And again, I want to take this opportunity to emphasize the thing about the small things,
Right.
the decisions you make about small things. For example, like if you go into a restaurant or a coffee shop, right? You just like barge in,
Okay.
right? Or you actually look behind you and, oh, there's somebody behind me. And then, you hold the door open for them,
Right.
right? It's like, oh, it's an elderly person with a stick, right? With a walking stick. Oh, let me hold the door open.
Yeah.
Or you just barrel in and, you slam the door behind you on an elderly person with a cane, right?
Right.
Or one simple thing, right? Like at the office, after a meeting, right? Like, do you put your chair back? Or you just like pick up just your stuff and you leave, the chairs and everything to be cleaned up by somebody else, right? Or it's a million little things actually, right? That you decide day after day that shape your character and your personality. So it's not big things, but the small things. And over time, those will also decide your responses to the big things. Yeah.
Okay. I see. I
yeah.
see.
So would you say, like, because you said that our agency actually lies in the long term.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
is that why you focus on the long term? Because by you focusing on the long term, that's when
Right.
you have the most agency, the most freedom even.
I guess it all fits together, right, by Abigail. One beautiful thing in constructing your values, your principles, is coherence and consistency, right?
Okay,
And so
you're right.
Yep.
if
You're right.
things are consistent
Right.
throughout, there's a beautiful kind of harmony around it, right? And so everything just fits.
Right.
Right. Right.
So yeah, if that's true, that your agency is primarily in the long-term effort of building your character and your personality, it makes sense also to be long-term oriented.
Right.
Right.
But maybe those conclusions came separately. Like I worked on Wall Street during its heyday, and
Right.
one of the prominent firms there, of course, Goldman Sachs. I didn't work there.
Yeah.
I worked at Morgan Stanley, but Goldman Sachs, arguably the preeminent firm at that time,
Yeah.
one of their slogans or mottos was, "We're long-term greedy."
We're long-term
Long-term
greedy.
greedy. Yeah, so we're greedy for the long term. We want to build long-term value. Like we're not hit and run. We're not like
Right.
quick profit.
Right.
Right. We're greedy, but we want to do the right thing for the long term. Right. Not just short-term gain at the expense of long-term costs or damage. Yeah. So
Right.
Okay, I need to ask this. So you talked about like one of the most fundamental thing a human can do, obviously, is to discover our value. And I feel like after we discovered that value, for you, those three things, it really resonates and ripples out of everything you do, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any guidelines for those
Right.
of us who wanted to discover our values?
Right.
Because I feel
Right.
like it's very difficult. It takes a lot of reflection and time and meditation to discover like what value do I actually hold.
Right. So there probably we can come to the issue of humility. Right? So again, the timeless truths, right? The timeless principles. For example, truth hurts. The truth hurts. But
Yeah.
the truth shall set you free. Right?
Okay.
And so not only a lot of times we run from our destiny
Right.
because it's scary and it's potentially painful and it entails quite a bit of sacrifice, right? But
hitting hard.
a lot of times we're running away from uncomfortable, awkward, truths that we find difficult to accept. You know, we might have a dream or a self-image that we're ABC, right?
Right.
When in reality, that's not us, And maybe that self-image is shaped by parental expectations or by
Right.
peer pressure or by, other factors, right?
Right.
But that's not really you, right? And we all go through that in our lives. And so part of the discovery is discovering the true you, right? Not the self-image that was created by your parents or by your siblings or what have you, right? Or by trauma or by success. Sometimes you have a fluke and you're really successful for a few years on something. Oh, I'm gonna be a painter, right? Because during my childhood, I was a great painter, right? But that doesn't mean that you're in your 20s and 30s, you're gonna still be good at painting, especially vis-a-vis other people, right?
Right.
But sometimes you're wedded to your successes, right? You self-identify so much with your successes from your teenage years or your 20s, right? And then look, you're very different every decade of your life,
Yes.
right? And things that you're good at in your 20s, you might suddenly be terrible at in your 30s. And it's terribly confusing. Like, how come I suck at this now? I used to be really good at this, right?
Right,
And things that you're terrible at in your 20s, suddenly you're in your 30s, like, hey, how come I'm suddenly good at this? Like, I used to suck at this, but now I'm good at it, right? But it takes humility, one way or another, right? To let go of the things that you're wedded to, right? That are such pillars of your identity, right? And to embrace the new things that you're like, I can't believe I'm good at this. Like, I hate this. I hate being this. I hate being, I used to castigate. I used to look down on those people, but now I'm one of them because I'm now in my 40s and I'm suddenly good at that. The very thing that I used to look down on.
Right.
For example.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, we all have varying degrees of luck in terms of
True.
the genetics we're blessed with or cursed with or the families into which we're born into, right? But eventually our journey is generally like that, right? And of letting go of those self-image that turn out to be not accurate, right? Turn out to be illusions. And that can be very disconcerting, right? You suddenly feel adrift. I always thought of myself as this, for example,
Absolutely.
maybe, in one city or during a certain age, you're the straight A student, right? You're like the top student. Then you move to a different city or you move to a different university and suddenly you're bottom 20%.
Right.
Like, oh my God, I always thought of myself as that person and now I'm not, right? But give it time and relax, right? You're still a valuable person. You're still like a human being of value. It's just that your identity will evolve.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. That's totally okay, right? But of course, we all know about teenage angst, right? We know about anxiety and stress. It is stressful. It is stressful.
People who are unable to do that in internet slang is called peaking in high school.
Oh, internet. Okay.
No, but Wow. Okay.
Tom, like honestly, we should pay you for this session. Honestly, I feel like I'm in a therapy session. You're hitting
That's
all the
true.
right notes for
That's
me
true.
personally, and I'm sure Abigail is
Yeah,
hitting
me
the
too.
right notes.
No, somebody said that these podcasts is basically like a group therapy session for Andovi, and this is like the most therapy
This is
session
the
for
most
you,
therapy
right?
session. Yes.
Therapeutic, cathartic.
It is because I mean I'm not gonna.
I'm having an existential crisis, honestly. Like
I
it's,
am because I'm not gonna go into it deeply.
I know you will feel called out, right?
I feel completely called out.
No, me too.
because of circumstances in Indonesia, what's happening in Indonesia right
we
now.
were, we were
Right.
just talking about it
We were just
actually.
talking
Yeah.
about it before with the
Okay.
whole 17 and plus 8
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, this is not my time to churhat or Abigail's time to churhat.
Yeah, no.
but-
Let's not go there.
But that's a great thing because now I think it's a perfect time to jump on you talking about teenage angst.
Okay.
This is a segue. This is my segue.
Okay.
This is my segue
No, okay.
because I feel that there's a lot of angst right now.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Among
of
the
anger,
public,
frustration.
In
among the young
Indonesian
people.
teenagers,
Indonesia.
Right.
Indonesian young people.
Young
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Around the world.
Around the world.
Around the
And
world.
In
That's-
Indonesia and around the world.
That's specifically what I gotta give props to What Is Up Indonesia and Weeboos. Because I think with what's happening in Indonesia right now, I've never, correct me if I'm wrong, never seen such loud reaction from the diaspora,
Yeah.
from people all over. I mean,
All over the world.
All over the world. Berlin, Sweden, Melbourne.
Yeah, no.
the
Japan,
US,
Korea.
It's because this is the prototypical, not the prototypical. This is the Weeboo core audience, which is the third culture kids, international.
Yeah.
Asians. I really see you personally as one of the lighthouses to guide the way for all these diasporas.
Because you're a diaspora.
Because you're, I mean,
yourself,
Harvard,
right?
You work
Right.
abroad, your
Yeah.
family, your children,
Right. Right.
Yep.
right? First of all, before we go to that, how do you feel and see, in your opinion,
Right.
on the diaspora that's speaking
Yeah,
out right
yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
all over the world about what's happening in Indonesia?
I'm stunned
Wow.
and deeply grateful, right, for all the diasporas who are speaking out. And this is one of the benefits of social media, right? I mean, we talk a lot about the negatives of social media, talk a lot
Yeah.
about the drawbacks,
Right.
but the way it enables us to form a global community is extraordinary, right? And the way it facilitates amazingly original and creative content and diverse ways of expressing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just extraordinary. And that's why I've said for a long time, I'm profoundly optimistic about the country because of the young people, right? So one myth perpetuated by the elites is that our country has no hope because most of our population only has elementary school degrees, right? Or middle school degrees at best,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Very few have high school degrees and even less have university degrees, right? But I've always disagreed with that, right? Especially now. I believe the current young generation is the smartest generation in the history of our country, right? Why? Because you guys consume high quality global content from an early age, just not through school, right? Through YouTube, through social media, right? So you guys were exposed to all this global content, to all this knowledge, to all this wisdom, right? And the way the social media algorithms work is I guess the most engaging content rises to the top,
Yep.
right? And so you're served kind of the best of the best in your timeline or in your feed in a way, right? I mean,
Or the worst of the
or
worst.
the worst of the
Or the
worst,
worst
right?
of the worst,
Yeah.
So again, I think what content you gravitate to probably is also a function of your character and personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Like what's in your For You page
Right.
is a reflection of you.
Of you.
Yeah.
But thankfully, our people have excellent character and an excellent culture, right? We routinely top the global rankings as the society that's most charitable,
Yeah.
right? The society, recently there's a Harvard study that put us in first position of dozens of countries for the society that's most, they call it flourishing. Yeah. And it's been mistranslated to like paling sejahtera. Yeah, I don't think that's what they mean. I don't think anybody would say that we're sejahtera right now. But flourishing really means kind of like strong social bonds, like high social capital, like a sense of togetherness, right? A sense of self-realization, self-actualization, of like having a high degree of meaning in your life, right? That's flourishing, right?
Yeah.
And so it's no surprise to me that our people gravitate to good quality content. I mean, of course, there's plenty of garbage as well, plenty of trash, right? That's just, brain candy, if you will. Can rot your brain as well.
Yeah,
just like candy rots
Absolutely.
your teeth.
Brain candy, nice.
But no, I believe the outpouring of support and criticism and caring, right? We've seen over the last few weeks definitively proves to me that I was right. That our people are smart.
That's true.
The public has become smart. And this is exactly the root of many of our politicians' troubles and our elites' troubles. They're acting and they're living as though we're still in 2015. They're acting and living as though we're still in 2005, right? But it's now 2025, and the world's very, very different from what we are used to, right? I mean, I belong to that older generation,
Right.
And I remember time without social media. I remember time without even internet, right? I remember a time when newspapers were the biggest influencers, right? But now you guys have more followers and subscribers than most of the newspapers, right? And so you guys and other podcasters and influencers are like the new Kompas or the new Tempo in many respects. I mean, not that Tempo and Kompas are not important or they're going to go away. They're going to be there and they play an important role. But you guys didn't exist even 10 years ago.
Yeah, we didn't.
All the more 20 years ago, or even 30 years ago. And many of us are living in a world that no longer exists, right? Like we don't understand social media. Even some of the people in my own family, right? Older or what have you, not on social media, don't have accounts on Twitter or X or Instagram and so on, right? So,
Can I just say,
please.
I do agree with you that these past few weeks, it has been really hard, and the country is experiencing immense violence and death that I wish never happened, but it did in a weird way reignited my hope also for Indonesia, because I do see that the people, especially young people, coming together and supporting one another and showing their best version.
That's
like
right.
a lot of people, like especially like the diaspora that I'm seeing, but not just the diasporas, right?
Everybody.
Like the ojol and then buruh and then the students. Like it's amazing, and it is weird that in one of the darkest time, that's when hope flourishes for me. Personally.
Right.
Absolutely. So I was giving a kind of a public lecture in Banda Aceh, right?
Okay.
And one of the things I said is the sun always rises after the darkest moment of the night. So it's when the night is darkest is when the sun is about to rise.
Oh.
Right? And apparently this is apocryphal. Like we have to look into it, right? But they used to say the Chinese character for crisis is actually a combination of danger and opportunity, right? And so
I did not know that.
whether it's a personal crisis or a national crisis or an economic crisis or what have you, right? Like when we go through crises, that's an opportunity. And I'm very heartened by the way certainly the young people and civil society are forging, consensus or forging a way forward from, all this difficulty.
Crisis is danger.
And opportunity.
I gotta know that Chinese character. I don't know that Mandarin.
No.
Hansi. Is it Hansi? Is it? I have no idea.
But
I have no
but
idea.
of course, there's also going to be opportunists who
Right.
try to exploit,
Right.
try to exploit the situation.
You know who you are.
Comment below.
We have to be on the lookout. We have to be alert to people who want to exploit the situation for selfish ends or nefarious purposes. Yeah.
So I need to ask this also. So going back a little bit, right? When your case, your corruption case, when your arrest was first announced, we actually had a podcast episode with Pak Anies.
Yeah, we did.
And during that time, he mentioned that you said to him, or I don't know to who, don't stop loving Indonesia. Jangan berhenti mencintai Indonesia. And that has become like a very popular quote attached to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And even after all that ordeal, that betrayal, that it essentially like the country turning on you after you serving it, right? You still believe and you still hold on to that phrase. Jangan pernah berhenti mencintai Indonesia. Don't ever stop loving Indonesia, even though Indonesia has betrayed you in a sense. So how can you still believe that?
Yeah, there's hope. To be honest, I thought your quote was incomplete. Don't stop loving Indonesian food. Nah, food. Oh, I agree. Indonesian food. No, but yeah, you're right.
That would make sense.
That would make sense. If you said that quote, everybody was like, oh yeah. Agree. Very good food.
So first, I would like to point out that that phrase was often mentioned by Pak Anies over many years. Actually, so if you go back to his speeches, he's the one or one of the ones who promulgated, that phrase many years ago, and he often uses it. But I think it took on a new resonance, when it came from me, right? Because, like you said,
because of
Abigail,
the circumstances,
exactly,
right?
Because like somebody who was, mistreated or betrayed, quite shockingly. Right, and how come I still insist on loving the country and so on, right? But I think why it's so strongly associated with me now is because of me still being able to hew to that love, right, of our country and our people, despite the unfairness that was inflicted on me. But look. We need to strongly distinguish between me being mistreated by a small group of people versus being mistreated by the whole country.
That's a great point.
So, it would be profoundly unfair if I blamed 285 million Indonesians for something that was done to me by, frankly, a handful of people, right? Yeah. Now, if we're going to take responsibility as a people, it would be that we were too indifferent to the importance of elections, for example. So that, right, the wrong people are in the wrong place, right? Like wrong people are potentially in various positions of power, right? I mean, that's a result of the choices we make in elections and in our political attitudes, right? So hopefully the current experience teaches all of us definitively that politics matters, that our vote matters, and that we should not be apathetic, should not be indifferent, right, to what's going on in politics. And we should, again, within the confines of each of our capacities, right, do what we can to contribute to a healthy political culture and to a healthy political system, right? Because as Mbak Nachwa Shihab points out, politics essentially runs the world, right? It decides ultimately over time every aspect of our livelihoods. But thirdly, it's as simple as the Indonesian people are just a profoundly lovable people. Seriously.
You're right. I mean, I don't disagree. You're right.
Aside from the global surveys that I cited earlier, where we routinely top the rankings as the most generous, the most flourishing. But look at our humor, right? I mean, you guys.
Top notch.
Thank you.
No, really.
This was the first
first time
time.
someone praised my humor. Oh,
I
thank
know.
God.
Congrats.
But thank you. I feel so
but
validated.
the netizens, the weeboos,
Yes, the weeboos.
you know,
Yeah.
the Indonesian netizens are just unbelievable, right?
They're so fun. They're hilarious.
I forget who said this, but like there's a saying that like humor is the highest form of intelligence, right? So
Thank you. I mean, yes.
That's true.
but reminder, the truth hurts. No, but
Humility, though.
humility is important.
Humility.
No, but no. I mean, as I've mentioned elsewhere, I lived in Germany between ages 3 and 10. I lived in the US between ages 15 and 23. I've traveled the world, right? I worked and lived in Singapore for many years.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to the same conclusion, which is the Indonesian people are amazing, like among the most good-hearted and among the most deserving people on the planet. So it's actually not difficult to love
The
our
most
people.
deserving
Yes.
people on the planet. That's
That's
huge.
That's the first take I've ever heard anybody say this.
That's
So,
huge.
Again, we have to look at the data and the facts,
I love
right?
it. Okay, let's go. Data.
Like there's 285 million Indonesians.
Yeah.
People like us who are well educated, we tend to look through the lens of our education or through the lens of our status, right? Not everyone is like us, thank God, right? Because all the negative things that we associate with Indonesians are usually the sins of the elites. It wouldn't be fair to characterize the 285 million people,
Yeah.
using the bad habits and
Right.
the
You're
bad
absolutely
culture of the political elites and the business elites, right? I
Right.
mean, the people are not like that. I mean, only the elites are like that. The corruption, I know it's filtered its way down.
Right.
It's become like pervasive, like the culture of,
Pungli.
pungli and palak.
Palak.
So asking for money or trying to,
that-
ask for a gift or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
yeah.
become quite pervasive. But look, the last thing I would say on that is things didn't always used to be this way. Yeah, it's only the last few years.
You mentioned this, so during like we had lunch, right? Or was it dinner? Dinner with a couple of other people, and one thing that you mentioned that really stuck to me was that you need to see the big picture, that the Indonesia we're experiencing right now is an anomaly.
Exactly, that's the term I use.
Can you like explain
Can
more
you-
about that?
Absolutely. So this is where we need the synergy between you young guys and me old folks.
Okay.
Because us old folks remember a time when our country was not like this. It was very, very different. Yeah. And things were not like this 25 years ago,
Yeah.
20 years ago, 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, right? It's only these last few years that things have really gone haywire, right? And so just like it's not fair to tar 285 million people with the same brush, right? It's not fair to judge our country on the experience of just the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah. If you look back
Right.
beyond the last 4 or 5 years, things were not this crazy. Things were not this bad, right? And we can talk now or later about what went wrong or how we went off the rails, if you will. But what I would conclude with on this issue is that don't worry, because the world turns and the pendulum swings, right? And so we're at one extreme right now,
Okay.
but the pendulum is about to swing in the other direction. Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
So, which
That's
is
a
another reason
bold
why
statement.
I'm fairly optimistic. Even though when the pendulum swings, there can be a lot of disruption. There
Right.
can be a lot of suffering.
Right.
There can be a lot of displacement.
Right.
And frankly, even catastrophe. Right. We don't know. It doesn't always have to be the case,
Right.
but it can be. And so we have to be again on the lookout for that. We have to safeguard people's livelihoods and people's welfare. Because yes, when tables turn or when the world turns, it can be quite a backlash. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it always turns. It always does.
Right.
You know, on Wall Street, we like to say that trees don't grow to the sky, right? Like there's a limit to things. There's a limit to things. Like there's only so far that a tree can grow, right? There's only so far that a trend can go before it exhausts itself, and you know, another trend takes over. So,
But you're positive that the trend that will take over is better.
it usually is, and this is where my passion for history comes in, right?
Love it.
Okay.
And so, I mean, we talked about Hamilton,
Yes, we
right?
did.
Versus Jefferson,
Yeah.
and other, you know, notable figures throughout history. And if you look at the long arc of history,
Okay.
it's a lot of up and down,
Right.
but the long-term trend is always up. You know, like humanity always gets better.
Right.
I mean, we might have World War I,
Right.
we might have World War
War
II, we might have many setbacks,
Yeah.
but the long-term trend is inexorably towards a better world.
Oh, I love that. Inexorably towards
Inexorably,
a better world.
Yeah. Now,
That's crazy. That's a
there's still a
a lot of homework. A lot of
controversy.
homework.
There's
Yeah.
still a
Yeah.
controversy among, for example, science fiction writers, right? So like this, one potential snag is nuclear weapons,
Yeah.
right?
That's a big potential
so,
snag. That's a very big potential
So
snag.
there's still an open question among futurologists or
Right.
sociologists whether any intelligent civilization, you know, will make it long term, because we may have the tendency to develop tools and weapons like
Destroy.
nuclear energy, nuclear weapons, potentially AI,
AI.
that
Yeah.
kills us before we develop the wisdom to use them properly or to safeguard them properly, right?
right.
But assuming that we do,
Yeah.
then usually the prospects for civilization are inexorably positive, you know. And if we don't, then we self-destruct. Then we all go to heaven, and it's moot anyway, right? So
Bold of
Okay.
me to assume we're all going to heaven.
or hell.
I know some people who are not going to heaven.
Comment below.
Comment.
Okay.
This question is from this weebu. Can you read this name? Very weird weebu. It's a very weird weebu.
Okay, question from Anis Baswedan.